Okay, I think we'll start now.
Yes, it's 6 o'clock. Let's start.
Hello and good evening, everybody. We've gathered here today to celebrate the life of someone who was so dear to us. I am so grateful from the bottom of my heart that you all have made time for this. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Kunal Sinha, and I'm so proud to say that Mr. D.K. Bose was my teacher, mentor, boss, and lately a very close friend. Our friendship deepened not just because I got older and grew a gray mustache like his, but simply because he remained so young at heart. DK left an indelible stamp on every one of the lives that he touched. With his passing, it's incredible how he has managed to reconnect us all after so many decades, for some of us. Such was the sense of belonging that he inspired. So the next hour or so is a celebration of a life unstoppable, which most of you know is the title of his book. We all believe that when DK bought a one-way ticket to McLeodganj, he knew he would never return. Because this was a man who never looked back. His sense of positivity relentlessly drove him to the next amazing thing time and again. It's also so wonderful that we're able to celebrate his birthday today. So happy birthday, DK. We all miss you on your birthday. This evening, we will hear his words. We will hear the music that he loved. We will hear from the so many who loved him, but I think even more respected him immensely for everything that he stood for. And we will give you the opportunity to remember him. So should you wish to say a few words, please send me a message on the chat window, and I'm going to allow you some time towards the later part of this webinar. So let's get going then.
দেখো আলোয় আলো আকাশ, দেখো আকাশ তারায় ভরা, দেখো যাওয়ার পথের পাশে ছোটে হাওয়া পাগল পারা। এত আনন্দ আয়োজন সবই বৃথা আমায় ছাড়া। ভরে থাকুক আমার মুঠো, দুই চোখে থাকুক ধারা। এলো সময় রাজার মতো, হলো কাজে হিসেব সারা
This beautiful tribute was created by Antara Gupta, and I would like to thank her from the bottom of my heart. If you knew DK, then you would have surely met his wonderful family, his wonderful children, Sonali and Dipankar. He made us all part of his family, and I'm so delighted that some of them have joined us today. His brother Kamal, his sister Meetu, Dipankar's wife Debosmita are also with us to celebrate, as they would on every 21st October. So Sonali, Dipankar and Debosmita, we would all like to hear from you. Can we have Sonali come on live, please? Thank you.
Am I there?
Yes, you are.
Okay, my video is...
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Yes.
Lovely to see you.
Hi. Yeah, now no one is there at home, so I'm all by myself. My Ashish and Akshita is gone. She has tennis, so
Okay.
they had to leave. But yeah, thank you for the lovely video put together. Everything. It was such a beautiful video. It just gave the memories back. What all and it was lovely to see all the videos. He had a collection of all these photographs and old photographs and everything, which used to keep on repeating on the Facebook, which was, and that's how we used to also get to know about all these things, all these photographs and the stories and everything. We used to keep asking him, where did you had this, how did you get it, how was experience, whatever. That was a very thing, but lovely video it was. Thank you for the...
Yeah, all the thanks goes to Antara. She's put it together.
It just gave us whole memory flashback totally. Yeah, and he see, for me he was always a father who I always wanted him to, because he was into too many things, you know. He was a workaholic, so he used to work, he used to teach, he used to do other things outside. What I remember, I think I think he's even written in his book that once I think he was giving us some lecture, something to do with something which we were not supposed to do or something. I just told him, you know, you are teacher outside the house, inside you better be our dad. Do not give us those kind of lectures which we as children we would want to hear it. That's what he always kept saying. For me, I think he was very broad-minded. He always told us, you know, you just experience a lot of different ideas, a lot of different things, explore the I think what he himself have always done. He has explored everything, and he has also given us that opportunity to, you know, explore different things, whether it can be studies, it can be other travel, which he always loved. And I think if I'm not wrong, if I remember, every of our school summer holidays, we used to be out on the road. I think Kunal, you would also remember every school holidays, any holidays we would get, we were on the road, and we used to travel like hours and hours. He himself driving, hours and hours of drive, and I remember sitting and sleeping in the car, enjoying the ride. But that's how it was amazing. That's how even I think the liking of traveling for me, it's also like that. I would like to travel. I want to travel, to see different places, to explore different areas. But yeah, I mean, as I just want to sum up that we miss him. I miss him. I was during my mom. I think I used to have this particular time in the morning, you know, to call and speak to her. She went, and then it was filled by my dad. So that again, it was a ritual, or you can say everyday thing, that around this particular time, say between 8 and 8:30 in the morning, I used to actually call him and ask. It was just a 5 to 10 minutes call, just to see how is he. Um, Now that is finished. Obviously, that is missing now. So I nowadays my phone is not there with me because I know I'm not going to give any call or get any calls.
Mm.
That is something which I'm going to really miss. Akshita was like a doting granddaughter for him. He was like literally like she has been very much kind of a little bit affected by his leaving because I think she was not that she was very good, very close to my mother. But I think after my mom passed away, she again related to my dad. But again, she misses that. She every now and then would say, "Oh, and by the way, she baked this cake because it was her birthday, his birthday."
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So she did that when even with my with mom's birthday also. So I told her that today is Dadu's birthday. So she said, "Can I bake a cake?" I said, "Okay, fine, you can do that." So she baked the cake, and we just had a little bit of cutting and all that stuff, and then she went off. So that's how she celebrates or she remembers him. And I think last this year it was around in June in mom's birthday. I think she baked a cake and we had a video calling, having a happy birthday cake with thing. But yeah, I mean, I can't say much, but we really miss him. I'm sure it's a big blow for us and unexpected. I mean, I was not expecting him to go, but being a perfectionist, wanting to everything doing at the right time, right thing, being before time, it's all done, finished. So
We
yeah,
will all miss him. We will all miss him.
that's
Yeah.
it. That's about me from me. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
touching. Really touching. Dipankar Devasmita. Hi, good evening.
Hello, hello. This I think most of you know me as Papa.
Yeah, yes, we do.
And that's what I used to always tell my father that why do you introduce me as Papa to everybody? Because I'm the bunker. And he always said that in my mind, I only know you as Papa. So this is me, Papa. My wife Devasmita, but she'll speak for herself eventually. Uh, but I would first of all, my sister has very gracefully, kindly thanked all of you, and I would really want to say the same. Echo her thoughts that this is amazing that we have come together. One is that. Second is, I think today being his birthday, I would really want to express how I feel, not in terms of any kind of sadness or any. The emotions are more joyous, I would say, because I believe the one of the strongest thing, and in fact, in the last couple of years that we used to do on his birthday or a couple of days before is two things very critical. If we missed it, then I don't know who is going to pay the brunt of it. One is Paish, and we are sort of going to have that soon. And the other is a holiday, and we used to ensure that that happens. And I feel very peaceful that on his birthday he's on a holiday, and that's how he walked out in style. And I'm amazed with that. I'm genuinely amazed with that style. He ensured that even in his way out, he made us travel. And I believe from the time I was born and from the time I sort of understood who he is, I've always just been traveling with him. And I feel real. There's a lot of pride that I feel in the fact that I have a father who made me feel that going out and seeing the world is more important than achieving things in school. And to just give you an example, I would say, and I'm sharing these things because let me tell you how things were at home. So, so,
I'm sure we all
uh,
want to
so,
hear that.
as very simple, pretty simple. So, I mean, I remember one time, I think probably class 6th or 7th or one of those middle years, I used to tell my father that I am going to top in maths. He said, Bappa, comma karo, please don't top. I said, no, what do you mean, comma karo? I have to top. I have to show you that I can top. He said, please just pass, move to the next year. Give me that much. I'm happy. Very soon in life, I realized that there is a lot more And I think those were the learnings. And we kept practicing that on every birthday. Of course, through the year, but on every birthday it was. And I think even I follow that on my birthday, that I always ensure that, whoever, all of us, when we're together, we try and go there. Another example, or rather another thing I would really want to, share is, and I don't want to talk about how much I miss him, and probably because it's evident that all of us miss him, but I think it's more about, there are few aspects that I miss when my friends would come home, and this probably also talks about how his mind worked, and that's something I learned again at a very early age. But my friends, of course, learned it the hard way, including my wife. Which is, whenever anybody came home, they would come and say, "Hello, uncle." The first thing he would say is, "So what do you do?" And that was the first thing. So, and I kid you not, 100% of the time, each person that he met in from my life, the first words that he spoke, and not even a hello, was, "What do you do?" His immense interest in knowing how well a person is interested in what they are in life, more than just a casual hello, is something that I really learned. And my friends would come and really say, "Please save us from him. He keeps going on and on about how we need to better our life, what we've just come to enjoy here." So I say, well, that's what you get when you come to my house. But I think overall, I would sort of say that pretty much a very simple thing. I don't think, I don't really miss him that much, because I find a lot of him in me. And I deep down, I dig inside of me, because that's what I find a lot of my parents inside me. And I touch within myself, within me, to reach out for them. And I think that's what they have given me. And I think that's what I feel very strongly about my father about. And as family, I think he's a very strong personality that we have learned from. I think even when I read his book, there are too many things even I got to discover. So I'm sure that even people otherwise outside, when I say discover, I don't mean about office or work life or otherwise, even in his own personal life, because he only shared probably most of the good things or the exciting things, and not really the. So I think today I'm just very excited to be his son, and I'm just glad that you guys have also sort of accepted me in this, and I hope that we continue to be in touch and continue this relationship that we all have, and not really limited to such occasions probably. But
Yeah, you said it so well that he's implanted a bit of himself in all of us.
Yes,
yeah,
true.
Wonderful. Yeah, and that's the level we connect.
True. And I think I'll just pass on the baton to my wife, because she's been impacted, because he's also asked her on the day that he met her, I'm Devosmita. He said, "Yeah, fine. What do you do?" And
no, let me tell my story. But firstly, thank you. I know Papa sitting up there and seeing all of us talk about him is making him very happy, and he's smiling down at us that he loves this, right? He loves when he's the center and we all chat about him and we discuss his life aspects. So I'm really happy that we're doing this. What I want to say is that my relationship with Papa was very, very different. It's unlike any conventional daughter-in-law, father-in-law relationship. I think we connected at two individual level. We have spoken about life, philosophy, challenges, aspirations, everything. And that's what I miss about him, because we could really take off, on talking about a film to a book about my past, his past. I remember I was, for a better part of my career, I was doing public relations, and later I got a chance to move into marketing. I remember the first time I was asked to work on a media plan. I called up Papa. I'm like, "Papa, I'm supposed to make a media plan. How do I go about it?" He was happy and he was stumped, because he wouldn't know how to tell someone who's never done a media plan how to say it. But he never lost patience. And what I enjoyed sharing with him is my little achievements and my challenges, because he completely sort of participated in it. It wasn't like something which is not my own. So I could really come and share everything with him. So that's what I miss. Like, yes, he's my father-in-law, but I think had that not been the case, and if life had given an opportunity where I got to meet him in a different landscape, I'm pretty sure we would have connected and spoken about many different things. I feel a very enriched human today, having interacted with him at many levels. It's not always been a very, like a straight-jacketed conversation. We would have like repartees, we would have arguments. I remember a lot of things that he would like me to, edit. And I would have my point of view, being a student of literature and all of that. I would say, your essence isn't coming out. And it was a journey. Initially, he said, I have been a leader where I have a vision, other people take my vision forward. I'm not used to people telling me to change my ways. But as we moved along, we shared that how a feedback mechanism is something he also started enjoying. And I remember very recently, before he left for McLeodganj, he had developed this interest of writing Bengali poetry. He had, downloaded the Bengali app, and it was poetry, short stories in Bengali. First, he wanted to do a super micro short stories, and then he expanded. And I remember he had written like this, a Bengali poetry which really reflected what his mindset was, that আমি হারিয়ে গেলাম রে, আমি বসে এখানে আটকে গেলাম রে, আমার মন, basically I want to let go, I want to be free, and he had referred COVID in that. I say it's such a beautifully artistically written Bengali poetry. Why using COVID in this? It's just killing the whole essence. He's like, yeah, he thought about it and he kind of changed it, and he's like, and it was funny. So he changed it and it's like, see, now we have changed it. So it was lovely that we could talk about these things, and we even connected on fashion. He loved shopping at Zara. I loved shopping at Zara. So we both would go and probably pick up the most stylish, the most like in-trend stuff. He's picking up his, and we kind of exchanging notes that how we want to dress this up. So I miss him terribly, because also I got to spend a lot of time in the last 6 months, because I was living in Bangalore before this, and I got here in March, right? And then there was a lockdown. So we had actually built a routine. Friday we'll open a bottle of wine and we will all drink and we will share. We watch something on Netflix. So there are many aspects that I will miss, and I'm very lucky to have known him in this lifetime. And and I also learned a lot of life lessons about don't make life unidimensional. Work is not everything. Expand your horizon. It's just been a great, he's had a great impact in my life, not just as a father-in-law, but as a human. And I take that with me and keep that with me forever.
Such wonderful stories. Actually, now that you mention Zara and going, my wife, since we stay so close to you guys and close to Oberoi Mall, my wife would also tell me, occasionally, I went to Oberoi Mall, I ran into DK there. Yeah. Used to go by himself and watch movies. Yeah. And sometimes he would send a message, on WhatsApp or on a group saying, does anyone want to come along? There's this new movie and, I want to go there. So absolutely. He just wanted to share his entire life which he did. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And we've got lots more stories, and we will hear live
Looking forward to
from your uncle and aunt in a bit. But really wonderful. Yeah. DK's book, Life Unstoppable, really describes so vividly the many people he encountered in his lives. And it's fantastic that today we've had some of the people who featured in his book and others who did not share their memories. When we asked them, they all said without hesitation, yes, of course, we want to say things. So what we've got is this absolutely wonderful compilation, thanks to Sumit Roy, who stayed up half of last night, and then this morning also we were sending him videos that were still coming in. And let's hear it from DK's friends and colleagues from all over. Can you play the next video, please? Thank you. So this one's a bit long. Yeah.
DK Bose, my friend DK Bose, DK and RS, we used to call ourselves that way. DK and I have known each other for 45 long years now. When I joined Ogilvy on April 16, 1975, there was no place for me to sit. I joined their Bombay office. Now DK was in the media department. He himself had a small desk, right? And he had his chair, and there was one chair next to his desk. So he said, come and sit here. He offered I could sit with him. So I sat on that side of his table for 15 days before I moved on to Chennai. Now that is DK for you. Spontaneous, generous, welcoming, friendly. That started our friendship and lasted for 45 years. And he just vanished without telling me. Quite unlike DK.
DK and I shared an elemental friendship. We first met at Ogilvy in Mumbai. Once I moved south, our paths seldom crossed, though we did try and keep in touch on the rare occasion. DK and I were happy to learn that his son Dipankar and my daughter Anu were colleagues and friends at Star in Mumbai. Dipankar even attended Anu's wedding in Chennai. One fine day, DK called. He and his wife were visiting Chennai. So I invited them over and we had a marvelous time catching up. That was the last time I met DK in real life. More recently, he was in touch about his books and his wanderings. I was devastated when he wandered off the face of the earth. Now I must share with you a rather juvenile ritual between us. It started ages ago. I just laughed at something that DK had said when he interrupted me with, "Don't laugh." So next time I caught him laughing, I slammed him with, "DK, you don't laugh." Then we both burst into laughter. This ping pong banter had got into our DNA. Today when DK laughs in his new abode, I'm afraid my voice won't carry. DK, my friend, keep laughing.
So what made him special? Here are a few of his qualities I admired enormously. Courage, for instance. Courage to stand up for what he believed in. Sometimes to the extent of being seen as unyielding, stubborn, and even adamant. But DK would not budge on his values and principles. No matter what, no matter who. And I know in some situation he's had to pay the price for it too, but he did. He took it in a stride, as only DK can.
जली को आग कहते हैं, बुझी को राख कहते हैं, जिस राख से बारूद बने उसे डीके साहब कहते हैं. DK Sahab was dynamite. He was like Barood. The D in the Barood stands for the dawn of social marketing. Dawn को पकड़ना मुश्किल ही नहीं पर नामुमकिन है. DK was far ahead of everybody in the professional field. The K in the Barood stands for the king. DK Sahab lived his life king size. And he took care of all of us, whether it was friends, family or colleagues, like a king. And the boss was my boss. And जब boss ने commitment कर दी तो वो अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनते. DK's commitment levels were of highest level. And this was DK Sahab for me. DK Sahab, धन्यवाद, शुक्रिया, मेहरबानी for everything. आखिरी सलाम.
Good evening, and thank you for organizing this celebration for DK's life. I feel especially blessed that I had the opportunity to work with DK. He was a tough and a very gentle boss. He was an amalgam of amazing grace, and he had a strong will. And underneath that iron will was a very large and generous heart. He gave everything to his work and to his family. He actually taught us how to balance work and life. I learned plenty from him, and each learning has stood me in good stead and helped me not just professionally but personally as well. I have a lot of stories, DK stories to tell, but that would take a lot of time. I just want to thank him from my heart I want to wish him a very happy birthday wherever he is. I also want to thank each and every member of his family for being the support that they were to him, because he enjoyed every bit of his family and his friends. My heart goes out to both Bappa and Shona and each and every sibling. Thank you for being there for us, and thank you for sharing DK with us.
Compassion. DK was a man with a large heart. Sometimes his compassion made him stretch beyond comfort limits, but DK being DK would not stop or complain.
DK was my first boss in Ogilvy, and it was a pleasure working with him. He made you feel so relaxed. He not only taught me media planning, but in the process tried to teach me Bengali. I picked up quite a few words. I remember we went on this lovely picnic to Lonavala, the whole department. His wife had also come along, and we all felt like part of one big family. He had that ability to make us all feel like part of one group. Years later, we met again. Nearly 10 years later, we both joined Ogilvy again, and we also stayed close by. So I got to know him a lot better. I realized that life had thrown him a lot of challenges, and he had faced them all with a lot of patience and thought and loads of courage. That's what I admired so much about him. DK, wherever you are, you'll always hold a special place in my heart, and you'll be missed.
I first met DK in 1992 in Delhi. He was our visiting professor of social and rural marketing. We stayed in touch occasionally over the years, but I really got to know him when we worked together on a project around 2007 or 2008. We started connecting over extended conversations. From a teacher, he went on to become a mentor and then a friend. I remember him for his amazing generosity, always generously sharing his time, his knowledge, his expertise. Whenever I needed a sounding board to get clarity on some issue, he would always make himself available and call me over to his house for extended discussions over many cups of tea and samosas. His ability to quiz hard and bluntly point out the chinks he would see in my thinking on whatever we were discussing before offering a second cup of tea always added immense value to every conversation I had with him. And then he would remind me with a smile as I would be leaving that I must start exercising more and get my weight in control. Sometimes we would meet at a cafe outside and he would try out a new coffee or dish. And if he liked it, gleefully declare, "I must get my wife to try this out." It was a privilege to have DK as a teacher and mentor, and a joy to have known him as a friend. I shall always be thankful for that.
Generosity. I know he has gone out of his way to help people in need. Not just money, but advice, guidance, time which is so rare for people to share now. He would explain it as payback time, returning to society what he received abundantly in his life.
I met DK Bose in early 80s in Mumbai when he was working with Ogilvy and I was with contract advertising. We got along very well. Both our families came from East Bengal, now Bangladesh, and we had common cultural roots as well as professional interests. In 1984, DK moved to Delhi as media head of HTA, and I returned to my hometown Kolkata to work with Mr. Ram Ray in response. DK and I never lived in the same city for the rest of our lives, but we managed to keep in touch and retain our friendship. DK taught me very early the value of grassroots level learnings acquired through travels. When I told him that with two young kids I could hardly afford to take time off for such travels, he advised me with a very straight face, use your annual vacations. For many years after that, I dragged my family across India to remote places and small towns during our annual holidays, and I learned a lot as promised by DK. DK did pioneering work in the field of social marketing and communication. I consider him to be the father of social communications in India. He got the Lifetime Award from Rural Marketing Association of India, but his contribution in the field of social communication is going to last much beyond his lifetime. Earlier this year, DK published his autobiography, Life's Unstoppable. He was truly an unstoppable man. Today, on his birthday, I salute his unstoppable spirit, his caring nature, his awesome energy, his passion for learning and teaching, and his love for traveling. I salute my friend DK Bose as a complete man.
I count myself really lucky to have known DK, first as a colleague and subsequently as a friend. He was great at leading a team. His human insights was outstanding, and he was a great motivator as well. I watched all those qualities of DK from the sidelines, but something that I really admired in him was what a great husband he was, doting over his wife, and I'm sure he was a great father and a very loving grandfather added to all of that. So all in all, I think he was a complete man, and that was the beauty of DK. He led a very colorful life and passed peacefully, which I'm so happy about, because I'm sure that's the end he wanted for himself. I feel privileged to have met DK in my samsaric journey, and I wish DK eternal happiness and peace wherever he is. We will miss you and think of you always.
Gratitude, for instance. DK never forgot a single act of courtesy shown to him, help that he received, advice from those he respected. Gratitude would mean that he would go beyond reasonable limits to return the favor. But again, doing it graciously without fuss. So nicely.
DK at Ogilvy Outreach and a pal ever since. This minute is difficult. How does one condense a DK experience? He was a boss who bridged distances, was larger than life. Jahan pe visioning happened 24/7. There was constant optimism, encouragement, support. Remained the go-to elder, much after one left Ogilvy. Discovery was something he created in outreach. Rediscovery to me was his essence. And he was stubborn, he was opinionated, he was intense, had a view on everything and a lot of attitude to go with it. So there was a view and even more attitude, and it simply didn't stop. I thought it couldn't be stopped till now. The medium must be the message remains the first bit of gyan that I got from DK when I joined Ogilvy, and remains the legacy that he leaves behind for me. Thanks DK for everything. Was lovely munching on Singapore rice noodles with you last year, and will read Life Unstoppable.
DK, it's pretty amazing that I have to speak to you like this through a video, but somehow I feel that over the period of time that I have known you, and it's been a long time, I have always felt that it was a 24/7 connect that both of us had. You being my mentor, you being my teacher, you being my somebody that I looked up to, and someone that always had some solutions and some perspectives on the life, on work, on the world in general. But most important, there were so many endearing qualities about you that I look back and I realize that you have given us, and many of us, so many things. I remember the day, when I was working with the Netherlands program and the World Bank program, how one day you said that if I was into social communications and I love that space, it would be a great idea for me to apply to Ogilvy. And I applied. You interviewed me like a professional. You grilled me, I remember, in that particular interview, and made sure that I knew the value of what I was getting into. And once I was through that particular interview, and some of the other senior colleagues who had met me on that particular day in Ogilvy, in Lower Parel, I was given that particular news that I shall be joining Ogilvy. And I think that was a watershed time for me, and I think that has changed the course of my entire career going forward.
No regrets. The last time I met him in his home earlier this year, we had lunch together and spent about half a day chatting away, laughing our guts out. It was like old times. So he asked me if I had any regrets in my life. I shared one regret and asked him if he had any regrets. He said, no regrets. No regrets, he said, and gave his characteristic laugh, and I can still hear him laughing.
DK, a mentor, teacher, and a thorough gentleman. I still remember the person with big moustache and white starched kurta pajama coming to Jain Studios and sitting with us rookies to make us understand the power of rural India and what advertising and marketing is all about and how we should venture in this field. It had been a learning curve to be around you, DK, always. You shaped our futures and wish you all the best. Rest in peace. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
DK, a true statesman respected across media and social development industry for his thought leadership and larger-than-life stature and personality. DK's personality would make a lasting impression on anyone who came in his contact. I find myself extremely fortunate to have met DK in 1989, and he has been my mentor and guide since then. I also have had a privilege of working with DK as a subordinate at Ogilvy Outreach in Delhi and in Mumbai, and I have been in touch with him ever since. DK has been an institution of knowledge and has always been guiding and adding a fresh perspective with examples and experiences from his own encounters and life. I owe my career in rural to DK, the greatest teacher and the mentor. Thank you, DK, for being there, and I salute you for all your guidance and inspirations.
DK to me was a teaching and mentoring mode always on. Every conversation, every opportunity for him was to mentor and to teach. I'll cite one such example. So we were traveling in West Bengal and DK was staying in Peerless in Durgapur. I was staying up in nearby hotel called Kaiser. Post dinner, as I said goodbye and good night, he said, why are you staying at Kaiser Hotel? Why not at Peerless Inn? Is there a budget issue? Has somebody asked you to stay at a cheaper hotel? I said, no, DK, that's not true. My team is staying there, and hence I am. And at the end of the day, it's about just sleeping over for the night. Tomorrow morning, we're again in the field. He said, my dear friend, for you, it is about sleeping for the day. For a lot of people, it's an aspiration. What do I aspire for when they grow up the hierarchy and the effort they're putting in to grow? What will they gain? You're supposed to set an example of aspiration as well. So DK, that's you for me, always in teaching mode. Thanks a lot, DK.
Then we talked about people in our lives. He said, everyone who was a part of your life was there for a purpose. Strangers or otherwise. Does not matter whether you like them or not. If you are smart, you learn from them too. Really wise advice. Everyone who was part of your life was there for a purpose. Does not matter whether you like them or not. If you're smart, you learn from them too.
If I have to describe in one word Mr. Bose, I would unhesitatingly say zestful. A zestful person who was stimulating, exhilarating, would pique your interest, and of course was very feisty in whatever he said and did. There was never a dull moment. He did not allow you for a moment to be complacent or rest on your laurels. He kept sort of goading you to vision and revision. This is the relationship of 27 years, something that I cherish and I miss most. It all began in the early 90s when he was at the peak of his advertising career and a pioneer in social advertising or social marketing, and was very much interested in learning from us. It was not just me, but from us. He was part of a set of stalwarts like Shevanti Nayan, Urvashi Botalia, Jay Chandiram, and Professor Uma Chakravarti. And he was interested in learning about gender because he felt that the advertising world really did not have an understanding of it, and even to some extent sort of distorted it and underestimated it. And he spent years churning that. But soon after that, the tables turned. He felt that we also needed to churn and learn from the corporate world and the other world, which is not rooted in grassroots activism, but which understands society and people. And that's a conversation that is still going on. It has not got quite finished. And I will be continuing not only the conversation with him in a different way, but also exploring what I need to do to, get to the kind of thought and vision that he had, both for CFAR and for all of us who are part of that journey.
Hi, I'm Rashi, and I know DK because he proactively volunteered to help us out with our startup group about a year or so back. 4 words come to my mind when I think of DK. If I had to summarize him, I would say authenticity, simplicity, generosity, and kindness. And the one phrase that comes to my mind, with these 4 words is, I wish I could be more like him. I don't think it still hit me that he's completely gone. And I'm really, really grateful that at least I got to benefit from his wisdom. Like I wrote in my tribute, I think the one line that's going to stay with me for a very long time is when he actually told me that the only relationship in the world is actually just friendship. No matter what relationship you have, the core of that relationship is just friendship. And even from a business standpoint, that thought actually became the foundation of the community of moms that we have today, right? It's just so simple, so powerful, so universal, right? And something that not just professionally, but even personally is really going to stay with me in the way that I view life. I really regret not reaching out to him more often. I regret not reaching out to him more proactively. I am going to read his book now, but I really wish I read it when he was still there. Reading about all the various people's lives that he's touched, when those messages were coming in on the group and on LinkedIn and elsewhere, it just got me thinking about all the people that he's helped and how that's actually the real currency, right? That's actually the real currency of life. And I think thanks to him, I'm now working on building that bank balance for myself, right? Thanks to him, I can already see myself almost subconsciously, right? Actively look to see how I can really add value in other people's lives. How can I help, even if it's just, a little helping hand here or there. And so in a way, if you think about it, DK has started like this pyramid scheme of friendship and happiness and compassion, right, through each one of us, and all the sort of good that we now do thanks to his inspiration in us, right, to everybody else that we reach out to. Maybe somewhere up there, I'm hoping he's sitting there collecting his share, at the top of that pyramid of all this happiness that he's helping spread.
Then we talked about future and the inevitable. He said the only way to handle future is to accept it, no matter what your plans are. Just think about it. The only way to handle the future is to accept it, no matter what your plans are. So don't worry about it, don't anticipate it, don't plan for it. Whatever it is, whatever comes, accept it with grace and happiness.
Like many other Bengalis and Indians, I'm sure D.K. Bose admired Rabindranath. But he is the one Bengali I know who preferred to live these words rather than merely recite them. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom. Let my country awake. DK practiced this for all of his 55 and more professional years. A very long and beautiful poem.
So here is my enduring image of DK I have in my mind and in my heart. A laughing DK like a laughing Buddha. Mischief in his eyes. Compassion in his heart. Wherever he might be today, I'm sure he will be on to something, trying to do his bit, helping someone and making a difference as only DK can.
I'm pretty speechless. The love, the pyramid scheme of happiness, as you put it, Rashi. I mean, everyone had such things. In the half an hour, we've come to know him even more lovingly, even more deeply. So DK has touched all our lives in so many ways. But then he himself would say that he's been influenced by so many and so much. And music was one abiding passion for him. So it's only fitting that we have not one, not two, but several accomplished performers to sing folk songs and Rabindra Sangeet, which he loved so much, in his memory. When she heard that we were going to put together this tribute event, Ambika said that we just had to get some music. And thanks to Mona Jain and Avinash Pandey of ABP, we've got a bunch of performers. Jojo, Poshali and Shurajit sing about how his free spirit could never be caged. Shovan asks when the meeting of minds will take place. And Novopithi sings about the qualities of the North Star, which DK served for so many of us. Let's hear some music.
নমস্কার, আমি জোজো। ডিকে বসির স্মরণে ওনার জন্য রইল আমার এই গান। তারে ধরতে পারলে মনো বেড়ি, ধরতে পারলে মনো বেড়ি, দিতাম পাখির পায় কেমনে আসে যায়, খাঁচার ভিতর অচিন পাখি কেমনে আসে যায়, তারে ধরতে পারলে মনো বেড়ি, ধরতে পারলে মনো বেড়ি, দিতাম পাখির পায় কেমনে আসে যায়, খাঁচার ভিতর অচিন পাখি কেমনে আসে যায়।
শ্রদ্ধেয় ডিকে বোস, ওনার আত্মার শান্তি কামনা করে ওনার স্মরণে রইল আমার তরফ থেকে এই গানটি। মিলন হবে কত দিনে আমার মনের মানুষের সনে, আমার মনের মানুষের সনে। ভালো থাকবেন সকালে।
খাঁচার ভিতর অচিন পাখি কেমনে আসে যায়, খাঁচার ভিতর অচিন পাখি কেমনে আসে যায়, তারে ধরতে পারলে মনা বেরি, ধরতে পারলে মনা বেরি, দিতাম পাখির পায় খাঁচার ভিতর অচিন পাখি কেমনে আসে যায় খাঁচার ভিতর অচিন পাখি কেমনে আসে যায়
নিবিড় ঘন আধারে জ্বলিছে ধ্রুব তারা মনোরে মোর পাথারে হুসনে দেশে হারা নিবিড় ঘন আধারে বিষাদে হয়ে ম্রিয়মান বন্ধ না করিও গান বিষাদে হয়ে ম্রিয়মান বন্ধ না করিও গান সফল করি তোলো প্রাণ টুটিয়া মোহকারা মনোরে মোর পাথারে হুসনে দেশে হারা নিবিড় ঘন আধারে।
ধীরে ধীরে সময় আমাদের আবার আগেকার অবস্থায় নিয়ে যাচ্ছে, মনে আবার পুরনো ইচ্ছেগুলো জেগে উঠছে। আবার কি ফিরে আসবে সেই অদম্য উৎসাহ? যেখানে ইচ্ছে সেখানে যাওয়ার, পারবো কি ঘুরে বেড়াতে একা একা এই পাহাড় পর্বত নদী পারাবার? আর কিছুদিন পরেই লেগে পড়বো সঙ্গী সাথীর খোঁজে, একই ধরনের ঘুরে বেড়ানোর পাগলামো যাদের আছে। আমি ডেকে বসে আত্মার চিরশান্তি কামনা করি, আর ডেকে বসের উদ্দেশ্যে কয়েক লাইন গিয়ে শোনাচ্ছি আমার প্রিয় একটি গান। তারে ধরতে পারলে মনো বেড়ি ধরতে পারলে মনো বেড়ি দিতাম পাখির পায় কেমনে আসি যায় খাঁচার ভিতর পাখি কেমনে আসে যায় খাঁচার ভিতর পাখি কেমনে আসে যায়।
Thank you so much, so much. Ambika, wonderful idea. Mona, Vinash, thank you for making this happen. In a tribute to DK, which was penned along with her husband Nitin, actually Mona wrote how DK always said that, don't leave anything for the future, do it now. And the regret of not having taken a journey with him. Some of us have been so fortunate to have traveled with him and learned so much about life, learned so much about the country, learned so much about people. Over the last 2 years, ever since Shahana Bodhi left us, DK had been completely obsessed with his autobiography. The stories that he would narrate to us in person, he wanted the world to know them. His belief in the Zen proverb, knowledge is learning something every day, wisdom is letting go of something every day, was complete, it was total. Aditi Chatterjee helped him string his words together, his life experience and his beliefs in the completely inspirational book, Life Unstoppable. It is only fitting that she reads a few passages from the book for us today.
In 2008, for the first time, Shahana voiced her desire to travel. Let's go to Kashmir, she told me one day. By then, she had become wheelchair bound, but that did not in any way diminish her desire to travel. Friends and relatives warned us that if we went off by ourselves, we would encounter problems. So we came to an understanding. We would travel to the extent we could and return if we felt we can't go any further. It was also a turning point in our relationship. Traveling with Shahana whenever we felt the urge became a life for us. I felt blessed to be able to do this. It also gave me time to ruminate over how we had grown as life partners. Marriage is a commitment not just to your spouse but also to your responsibilities. I realized this a bit too late. My many shortcomings had come in the way of a balanced, healthy marital relationship. While over the years I had overcome my insecurities and to a large extent reined in my aggressive nature, Shahana had got the short end of the stick. Somewhere between the challenges that her physical condition imposed on her and my constant struggle to be a worthy breadwinner, her own dreams and aspirations had been buried. While her resentment on that score would never be erased, we both had emerged stronger and more bonded in our relationship. After years of struggle and financial stress, I was finally in a position to indulge her whims and fancies, dreams and desires. It also gave me immense pleasure to see how much she enjoyed the smallest of luxuries. When we visited Odisha, Shahana was very keen on watching the dancing dolphins at Chilka Lake. Given her handicap, we were advised against going, but Shahana simply said, "Let's see if I can do it." She managed it with some difficulty, but it was worth it all to see the joy on her face. In 2016, we visited McLeodganj, a hilltop above Dharamshala in Himachal Pradesh, for the first time. We decided to spend a few days at Bella Heights, a hotel run by my friend Ravi Bhatnagar. Though we knew that we would have to negotiate 15 odd steps, we ventured out to enjoy the beauty of the place. Bella Heights was also the only hotel at that time which had a terrace restaurant and was reputed for Tibetan food. We got a room overlooking the snow-capped mountains and could go to the terrace, which provided an excellent view of the beautiful landscape. Dalai Lama's temple is located nearby at a higher level. Located at a walking distance of about 15 minutes from Bella Heights, Ravi and I would often go to the temple. However, Shahana would not be able to accompany us. One day she asked if it would be possible to take the car right up to the temple. After making some inquiries, I found out that we would be able to drive up to a point close to the temple. She was full of excitement when I gave her the good news. But a major disappointment was in store for us. When I wheeled Shahana into the courtyard of the temple, we found there were another 20 odd steps to climb to get into the Sanctum Sanctorum. Not knowing what to do, we waited in the courtyard, disappointed that we would not be able to go any further. There were many visitors busily making their way into the temple and did not seem to notice that we were virtually stranded there. Suddenly, practically out of nowhere, a lady monk approached us and asked us if there was a problem. When she was informed of our predicament, she offered to lift one side of the wheelchair if I could hold up the other side. But that turned out to be an impossible task. Undaunted, she started calling around and got 4 young boys to take my wife into the temple. After the boys left, the lady monk took my wife around the Sanctum Sanctorum while explaining the significance of every aspect of the temple. Later, she said she alone would be able to help Shahana down the steps. I gratefully thanked her, got some help, and brought my wife down to the courtyard. When I turned around to say goodbye, she had disappeared. Though I don't believe in miracles, probably my wife did. The lady monk's sudden appearance and disappearance are beyond me even today. Sometimes help comes along in ways that are truly magical. Call it what you will, coincidence, being at the right place at the right time, or good luck. The fact remains that all through the various journeys of my life, I have been blessed with meeting people who have supported and helped me.
These small acts of kindness have shaped and enriched my life.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Yeah, I mean, he was so glad when his book finally came out. And most people would probably also know that there is going to be a physical version of the book out quite soon. And he wanted everyone to read this book, so go ahead, make it a bestseller the way he wanted it to. So it was a tradition in the Bose family, most of whom live in Mumbai, to gather and celebrate family occasions. DK's birthday was no different, and I'm delighted to say that his brother Kamal and his sister Mitu are with us today. And I would request Kamal and then Mitu to say a few words. So can we promote them, please? Can we promote Kamal and Mitu, please? Thank you.
Hi.
Great to see you.
Kunal, can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. First of all, I've got every hair on my arm standing with the past 1 hour, what we've seen and heard, and it's probably one of the best birthdays that DK could have ever wanted or experienced, and I hope he's watching this from somewhere because. Uh, it's only fair he sees this. The kind of love and affection that has come in from his family, the friends, and everybody that's been here for the last hour or so. To me, I've had the privilege of being in the industry that DK was, and so I know a lot of the people out here being in the industry. But I want to tell everybody that trust me, everyone over here is a family name within our family because DK spoke so much all the time about all of you that we actually know all of you by first names, literally. My family would probably know a couple of my friends, but we knew about 60 of DK's, of Meza's friends, as we call him. To me, personally, he was my hero. He was an idol. I sorry, Mithu, you want to take over now?
We feel for you. We feel deeply. Yeah.
You know, he was he, he was the first member in the family. I don't know how many of you all know my family, meaning DK's family. My parents were very, very strict and regimented. But if we got 5 inches of space, DK got 20. He was the only one in the house who was allowed to use cuss words at home. We've never seen that or heard that from anybody else. He was the cool guy. He had the cool quotient. Cigarettes and alcohol were like taboo. But I remember at a very young age, we would see photographs with DK, a cigarette in one hand and a glass in the other, enjoying and celebrating with friends at a campfire somewhere out in the hills. So, I studied in a college pretty close to the RPG House office where DK worked. And, I was a student in Sydenham College. I hadn't been to any office in my life before. I'd been to probably Dad's office, which was a government office. And I remember going to DK's office in Ogilvy at RPG House. And I was shocked because, a secretary came and escorted me inside. And then I stood in front of a door which read DK Bose on the glass. I remember I went in, I spoke to him, a couple of people who walked into the room, and he spoke to them in Bengali. And I asked him, do only Bengalis work in Ogilvy? And he said, no, none of these were Bengali, but they know what I'm speaking. So I was a little, amazed with that. And I came out with with so much pride that that man behind that glass door with his name etched on the glass was my brother. And in the 20 odd years that I spent in the industry, there were like innumerable meetings where I started the conversation with people who came to meet me saying, you might know my brother. And they used to say, who's your brother? And I used to say, DK Bose. So many of them, you won't believe, Kunal, they stood up when I told them this. And I often wondered, what is it that he has done that has, created such kind of adulation and, love for him. But that's my hero. That's we're gonna miss him. Like I was telling you the other day on the phone, the pain will wear off with time. It's the vacuum that won't, the void that won't will be difficult. I'm sorry about my emotions, but
no, like I said, there's a big hole in the heart, yeah, amongst all of us, yeah, everyone who's here, and so many more who probably couldn't make it today, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
being there. Thanks so much, Mithu. Over to you.
Hello.
Hi,
can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, today I'm completely overwhelmed. I knew that DK was extremely loved, respected, and all that. But what I've seen today is beyond me. And I'm so grateful, to see that on his birthday. He's definitely seeing it all. And this whole combination of friends, reading of his book, and the music, this was his, the manna from heaven kind of concoction that could make DK happy. And he really is. For me, he was, he wore many hats. He was, of course, my brother, but he was my mentor, my guru, my, my father many times. Whenever I wanted to break the mold and do something different, he was the person who egged me on, who encouraged, and who said, life is all about risk. Life is all about going there and doing it. And, all of y'all have told different aspects, so I'm not repeating all that, his generosity, kindness, and everything else. But two things that I'm extremely grateful for that has happened recently is that, recently he had written in his FB post that he was going with a one-way ticket. So I rang him up and I said, DK, Meza, take off that line. I don't like it. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. Why are you writing one-way ticket? So he said, Mithu, very few people in this world can write that. I'm liberated. Only a liberated soul can write something like that. So I said, what do you mean by liberated? So he said, professionally, personally, from my family aspect, from my friends aspect, I feel so fulfilled as a person. I don't feel I am needed. I feel I will come back whenever I want to, There is nothing unfinished here. So I book this one-way ticket. I go and I roam around. I do what I want. And the minute I feel like coming back, all I do is call up Bappa, and Bappa will just organize my ticket and I will fly back. So this one-way ticket is a very lyrical and a musical thing for me. Don't take it away. So I said, okay, if that is so, then that is it. And it turned out to be prophetic. We all know that. The other thing was shocking. It was just 2 days before he left. He called me and he said, I want to ask you a question. So I said, yeah. So he said, do you have any regrets in life? So I said, regrets? I've not thought on those lines. Yeah, I need time to think. But since you've asked me, maybe you've given it a thought. So why don't you come up and I'll, think up something, whatever I may have. So he said, Mithu, I have not a single regret. I have thought and thought it out. Where my son, where my daughter, where their spouses, where the granddaughter is concerned, where all of you are concerned, I feel I've done whatever I need to do. I have taken whatever I need to take, and I don't see regret. There were little things like travel, which was there, which I wanted, but I've fulfilled it, and that is a never-ending wish which will go on. So it's never a regret. I wanted to do Leh Ladakh, and I thought it was impossible for my age. And heaven sent me this fantastic friend, Sanjeev, who was introduced to me by Shojol. And, the universe comes together to make me a happy person. So I have no regrets. So for a person to say, I'm liberated and I have no regrets, just 2 days before going away, makes me feel that this was a surreal going away. And we are blessed that our brother has experienced such a life and also such a going away. He loved the mountains. He loved it. Every time, ever since I was a child, I remember my mother used to say, everyone's buying a home. Everyone's, building their foundation in these urban cities that we've chosen. Go ahead, buy. Don't keep your wife in a rented home. And he said, Mom, if I ever buy, my house is going to be in the Himalayas. The mountains are for me. If you never nailed me down to get married, I would be roaming the Himalayas. So those Himalayas, those mountains called him, and he went there, and he had the most peaceful, most beautiful going away. And his son went there and conducted his last rites in a manner which I can't believe. Papa to me is a child, he's my son, that kind of a feeling. And what he's gone and done, all alone there with his wife, of course, but none of us, such a large family, we have 50 of us, but no one could be there at that point of time. And he conducted it all. I thank God. I just thank God that, he caught the exit the way he wanted it. He literally designed it, and he went. And all you friends, each and every one of you, Kunal, Ambika, and the rest of you, and Shumit, I have not met you, but, what a beautiful recording you've done. Sridhar, I've had a lovely opportunity to spend some beautiful hours with you the other, when you had come over. And like Kamal said, all you, Indranil, and, all of you are not just names in our household. We know you all. And it's so beautiful that you all have given him such a lovely send-off, such a lovely remembrance. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's the least we could do for him. Yeah. There's so much more, and I'm sure we will, everyone's sort of writing messages saying we must celebrate more of ourselves, of our friends, while they're amidst us. And that's such an important lesson in this. Thank you very much. Yeah, lovely. I'd like to actually mention Indranil, and Indranil has been waiting for a bit. I'm sure he wanted to speak a few words. So Indranil walked shoulder to shoulder with DK at HTA and R.K. Swami BBDO, and we're waiting to hear your tribute, Indranil. Could you promote Indranil, please, Prem? Thank you.
Hi guys. Am I being heard?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Okay. So to me, D.K. Bose stood for one thing: social impact. Social impact professionally, for sure, but social impact personally in another interpretation. When you made a statement in his presence, he'd be the first one to say, just a second, stop you there, and he'd analyze that statement threadbare and expound on his theory for several thousand multiples of that second with great passion. His curiosity was insatiable, especially about people and about behavior. His appetite for travel, well spoken of, good food was legendary, and he'd inspire his wife and many colleagues and friends to share in that excitement, imbibing myriad experiences and accumulating them as his own unique brand of knowledge. All these kept his life filled to a plenty, and he was truly unstoppable. I was fortunate to have been a colleague to him across two ad agencies, HTA and RK Swamy BBDO, across the 80s and 90s. And then, after my return from the Middle East, when I started brand new in 2013, we did several projects together. He was the one who lit the fire of social communications in me. Initially in the early 90s when working and traveling on UNICEF, and later when he asked me to join the board of CIFAR. When Brand New began to work on very many social enterprise clients, he would be as excited as me in discussing the various variety of strategic issues such as children education, water conservation, sanitation, women empowerment, healthcare, mental health, etc., etc. He was truly an empathetic soul who felt deeply about the issues of our country. DK was the one who inducted me into the Delhi Advertising Club as its vice president under his tenure in the 90s. DK was the one who got me involved in taking advertising classes in various institutions, including Prasar Bharati's satellite channel. He also was a great supporter of my columns in Business World. But work aside, we were like family. Bodhi and DK, Shurmishta, my wife, and I had a very close association. We used to relish long phone conversations with each other, DK and I, and every other day discuss current affairs and many aspects in which we crossed swords as well. We shared a common love for train journeys, jalebis, mangoes, folk music and Rabindra Sangeet, cricket, cinema, Bengali poetry. Last year, Sharmishta and I were fortunate to have DK stay over 2 nights at our home around the time he was in Noida to work on his book. It was lovely to have him put his feet up and really relax, have long chats, go for a walk around our complex, have a few drinks and some sumptuous luchi mangsho, despite all family warnings to go easy, and get him not to miss smoking. So today, DK would have been 76 years young. Young because a person like him never aged mentally and was always looking for new ideas. Of course, he remains evergreen in my heart. This year, one of his startling, though poignant messages to me was this. He says, "My prediction, at the end, love will win all wars." He said, "I may not be there to enjoy this win, but mark my words, it will happen." DK, be at peace wherever you are. Thank you.
Very poignant indeed. Thank you. Thank you, Indrani. Good to see you and Shurmishta. I'm also delighted that we have Ranjana Singh with us today. She was one of DK's early media prodigies, and as most of you know, today she is WPP's country manager for Indonesia and Vietnam. We're absolutely delighted to have you able to join us. I hope you're still around, Ranjana. It's been a long evening, and it's a bit late for you probably. So if Ranjana is around, can you see her, and would you be able to promote her, Prem?
Ranjana doesn't seem to be there.
Okay. I'll then request you to promote Rajkumar Jha. Prem, can you promote Rajkumar Jha and make him a panelist, please? Thank you. Yeah, Rajkumar Jha, we worked, very exciting times at Ogilvy Outreach. Yeah, good to have you, Raj.
Hi, audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, I don't know where to begin. I met DK when he was in functions, and I was a child then, just flirting around media and TV buying. And I went into his room, scared like hell. And he told me something which was a jargon, like either mail it to me or put it in a floppy or something which I understood nothing about. And I was leaving and he said, call me back. He said, did you understand? I said, no. Pucha kyun nahi? And that has been DK for us. Pucha kyun nahi? Ab DK, aap jahan bhi ho, jidhar bhi ho. Everybody says teacher, mentor, friend. But some of us had a little extra space too. Father, son, friend, pata nahi, kaisa. So at least twice a week he will call up with his funny kind of questions. PDF khulche na, file transfer hoche na, what is in my iPhone, how do I get into my MP3? And if I tell him send it to me, I'll do it and send it back. No, teach me, tell me how to do it. And that was very difficult. We had lots of secrets also going around. Kum bhujabe, kum. How will you walk so much? He says, oh, you will walk? No. You say yes. And then I say, okay, let me check with you. We had a secret. He wanted to redo his book and then do extra one book. And he asked me, will you translate it for me? Then he will come across and say, is your home project over? I said, yes, sir, it's getting over. So January, we will go to that place. I'll stay there for a week. I want to visit Heart. I want to visit Village Market. I want to village. And we had these little things going on and on and on every now and then. Lots of fight also. Sometimes he will read about my article and say, no, this is not right. He told me, if you know, go and teach. And he'll send me to several institutes that I'm sending you my best boy. He'll take the class. When I'll come back from there, he'll get the news that how the class went and all. And then he'll ask me, Likhe, did you document it? I said, no. He says, that's a bad habit you have. You must document things. So that's DK. I don't know how things. So even in the last post, if you see, when he's sitting outside and I'm asking him, mask koi, chashma koi, that's the kind of things we had. And he says, look at the next picture. Don't jump. And every time I will travel and I'll post a picture, he'll ask me the same kind of questions. No, don't get tired. Don't sit like that. If you love hills, you have the energy, you have the capacity. Whatever we are today, he shaped us all with his lovely hands. वो कौन ऐसा सीनियर मिलता है जो आपको सिखाता है कि रूम में अगर सिगरेट पीना हो और उसकी बदबू नहीं चाहिए ना, तो एक मोमबत्ती, एक गिलास पानी और एक पे पंखा करके बैठे। यार ऐसे बॉस नहीं मिलते, नहीं बनाता कोई अब ऐसे। तो किताब देके और 10 दिन बाद आपसे पूछता है पढ़ा, and then he'll have his questions ready to know whether you actually read it or not. Let's go on travel, let's go on to visit villages, let's go on here and there. इतनी कहानियां हैं हमारे और डीके के बीच कि मैं दिन भर दिन रात भी बोलता रहूं तो कम पड़ जाएंगे। अब कौन फोन करेगा डीके, किसके फोन का इंतजार करेंगे? ये एक बहुत बड़ा गड़बड़ हो गया। और वो सब प्लानिंग कि वहां घूमने चलेंगे, वहां जाएंगे, ये देखना है, वो सुनना है, बिहार जाना है, ये करना है, थोड़ा जल्दी धोखा दे दिया। थोड़ा और टाइम रहता तो कुछ मस्ती कर लेते हम लोग। मिस तो करेंगे पर नहीं, आपको देख के उदास नहीं हो। He told me once, we also had this discussion on regret. And he says, there is no word like regret. I said, why do you say that? He says, that was the best decision you could take at that given point of time. So what is regret? There is no regret. Always be happy, look for newer things and travel. Travel is the best teacher you have. And he always speak to me in Bangla, so we never had that questioning. And he'll often send me Bangla songs. And sometimes he'll send me text and I'll say, DK, I can't read this. I don't know how to read text. I can only hear and speak. So he'll again call and read it out to me. When I got the news, I don't know why, I was hearing a Bangla song, Tumi Ashbe Bolo. Well, he said, now I asked him also, but it's one-way ticket. And he said, dekh raha hai na, jayega. He was very disturbed with this COVID and Corona lockups. He was like, I have known him as a naughty, youngster, recycled teenager. He'll come out with these witty things. I want to be the best photographer. I said, why? You see Kunal, he's a very good photographer. I said, that doesn't make you a better photographer. He said, no, I learn from you, I learn from him. So I'll be the best storyteller. What makes you best storyteller? You tell such good stories. I learn from you, I'll become the best storyteller. So he'll have everything. He asked me to do a report on Pushkar Kunal, if you remember. And he says, don't give me itne stall the, itne. So I wrote a story. And he used to always tell me, what a report you wrote. So he wanted people to enjoy work, love work, sit out. He would tell us, why are you in office? Why are you not outside? And so much learning. Even when outreach closed, we all left. And still be in touch, still be, we worked so many projects together. He would, if whatever project would come, he'll call me, model kahan milega BCC ka. I said, all those models are bakwas, they're all theory. And then he'll tell me, just show it to me, rest I'll do. And he used to hate jargon, but at times indulge in jargons also. So, I don't know where to end, where to begin. DK, Bharat Thakur, jekhane aache ho. We'll have lots of fun. We'll keep talking one every now and then. You're always there with me. You'll never go away. You'll never go out. Thank you. Thank you, Kunal, for giving me this opportunity. Sitting here in my village, long ago, I still see him there for me.
Yes, yes. We all see him around us. Thank you, Raj. Thank you. We've got Abhijit from very far. Abhijit, are you there? And can we promote Abhijit, please? Yeah, thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Abhijit. Hi, we can.
Yeah.
Wonderful to have you. Yeah, wonderful to have you. I hope you're recovering from your recent surgery. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of I'm happy I could make it.
Delighted to have you.
I just wanted to just talk about a couple of things, if I could. Sorry, my voice is a little sort of shaky because A, I'm indeed overwhelmed, and B, I'm not been very well. So I'm quite grateful, Kunal, that you reached out, and I was actually in the hospital bed when that happened. So I said, damn, this is like horrible timing. Would have loved to say some words. Would have liked to record something nice and send it your way to include in the video. It is not to be because I was just convalescing. Regardless, I think I don't want to take too much time of people. One defining moment in my life was when I hired HTA as a media planner, and DK called me into and Ambika was my direct report, and DK was always around mentoring. He asked them to put me on Boost, which was a brand which has chased me all my life. I still drink Boost for some reason. I don't know, it's got an association. But I remember I was doing a media plan where I got 1 0 wrong somewhere. So instead of writing 2 lakh rupees, I probably wrote 20 lakhs or something like that. I can't remember. But and the plan had gone to the client. The DK spoke to me only in Bengali, right? And except when he was extremely angry, then he would speak to me in English, which was very strange. But that day he sat me down and he gave me the lecture of my life. And he said, it's not about the zero. It's about how much you care about your work. He says, I can throw you out today, but then you would have not learned. He says, I'm going to keep you on, and you have to get those damn zeros right, my young friend. Defining moment, because I feel it's been what? That was like maybe 88, 89, I can't remember. But it's been amazing journey. I never became a data analyst, but I never got any damn zero wrong ever in my life since then. One other incident. I'm staggered with the amount of people he touched, as we can all see. But his keen interest in what the hell I was doing, that was staggering too. So the fact that I was in Hong Kong, I left the country by 89 and got an opportunity in Leo Burnett in Hong Kong. We would speak almost every month, and he would want to know what the hell am I doing? What is Burnett doing with me? How if they're using me well? Which is again mind blowing. It's like he knew that he had no control over what I'm learning, but he wanted to make sure that I was contributing my best. I moved on. I worked with Ogilvy in another market, and worked with several other agencies, and he kept chasing my career. We always used to chat. He visited me actually in Hong Kong and in Thailand, and then he was very intrigued that I'd moved from media planning to strategic planning, as in account planning, as it was called those days. He was very intrigued. He was extremely happy because he just felt that we just need to keep moving and learning. Like we can't just sort of, look at one aspect of communications. And I knew that he felt that I would have made an impact if I was in the social sector as well. But I was too far removed from it. But then I knew he had a huge army of people already. So in conclusion, I just wanted to say that the last time I actually spoke with him was maybe a year back. He asked me to call him. So I just called him back, and he was wondering what the hell am I doing in Canada, of all places. He was always interested to know that if I was actually happy, and I think he had asked me the question about regret as well at some point, and of course, I think to have told him I had any regrets would have been the wrong answer. But truly, I never had any regrets. Especially we get a start in a career with a boss like him. There's no looking back. So it was great to be able to reach out to Dipankar the other day, and I was shocked that he remembered me. But then I'm not shocked at all, because like everybody said, he would talk about us to his family. He didn't need to, but he always did. So they knew exactly who Abhijit was. Anyway, let me just stop right there. Kunal, thank you very much. I think
Thank you.
I'm happy you reached out and made sure that I came online. And again, apologies about the.
You get well soon. Yeah.
Thank you, boss.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very
Thanks.
much. I'm sure you'll all agree that today has been indeed a very moving evening for all of us. DK's spirit, his zest for life are unstoppable, and we should not stop here. We have to find ways of making his book widely read. So please pick up a copy on Kindle and write a review. Make it very personal. I mean, today all of you have been so personal about your experiences with DK. We plan to bring out an ebook with our memories. So we've created a DK fan club on LinkedIn. So please share your tributes, your experiences there, anything that you feel about him. And we're planning to put that together maybe in a couple of months. But before we go, I'd like to thank everyone who made this webinar possible. Shrikant and AFAX, Prem, absolutely, thank you so much for providing us this platform. Mona, we're grateful to you for arranging the music, and Ambika for connecting us. Sumit, what a fantastic job with putting together the video. And Sridhar, your narrative was perfect. Dalveer, Ambika, Nirmal, Rajat, Aditi, Amitabh, Mohan, Kalpana, Sandhya, Saurabh, Divakar, Subroto, Sandeep, Indrani, Antara. Your contributions absolutely invaluable. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Shubho Janmudin DK. I hope you're watching us sitting up there with Shahana Bodhi, sipping a cup of tea and maybe munching on a shingara. Love you all.